ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to iLeague Season 3. We have LGD Gaming versus Vici. It's game number 2, and Vici, in a surprise turn of events, lose game number 1 despite being the favorites to take this entire series. It's a BO5 with no game 1 advantage for Vici, so we are now at 1-0 favor LGD. I'm Lysander, joined by Blaze Casting. Welcome to the broadcast, my friend.
Excited to be jumping into game 2, man. I mean, I really feel game 1 showcased a little bit of maybe his flexibility, running on the Magnus and playing it as well as he did. I mean, we're knowing that he's a really good lane dominator. We know that he's great with the Shadow Fiend and the Storm Spirit, and that is what they're going to be going back to for game number 2. But it just is great for maybe to be able to showcase his flexibility, his versatility, and if game 2 fails, then LGD can go for some of those diversity picks. Instead of just going for the standard lane dominators for maybe, they can change things up a little bit. Because I'm actually not sure how well the Shadow Fiend will pan out here. Maybe Shadow Fiend is insane, but we have seen that it does have its limits. And Vici Gaming getting Ice Clockwork is probably one of the best ways to address that directly. You get him in the Cog solo, the Battery Assault prevents spell casts on him unless he has a BKB, and you just make his life miserable. So we'll see how well the safe lane for LGD can zone out the Clockwork. Rubik's good for lifting the Clockwork out of cogs, making what seems like a defensive position actually a risky one. But all the same, I think Vici Gaming would be the favorites in this first phase.
Yeah, they go with the mech opener, and I honestly think How sexually identifies as a gyrocopter. He plays nothing but that hero. There is nothing else. He only plays
if they give it
gyrocopter.
to him, it's a statement. It's just saying, if you do not ban it phase 1, I will pick it. And essentially, I think they're trying to get gyrocopter to be a phase 1 ban against them, so they can play around a little bit more with like the Undying and things like that. But for now, going into phase 2, we saw the Shadow Demon, the Chen, the Disruptor bans. We see the Wisp, the Darkseer, the Lina, as well as that Undying that I mentioned. So right now, obviously, they're just worried about the Lina Rubik combo. They'll probably ban out another support, but I'm not sure really what they're afraid of here. In this situation, they've already got pretty good mix of survivability and damage output in the fights. Any kind of AoE stun, though, maybe like a Sand King could be banned out here, or Earthshaker, pretty good for protecting the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, I think Shaker is the #1 go-to babysit support for Shadow Fiend. Just block him up, or even stun to set up triple raise. All those things are very possible, and he always transitions very well into the late game anyway. But that being said, Vici can snag it up right now. Do they pick Earthshaker here? I see him go on the off lane a lot more now.
Well, and it depends on what LGD want to do. I mean, Yao has so many heroes that he's actually really good on. But I feel that Vici Gamer are a little bit locked into their lanes right now. The fact that they picked up the Gyrocopter, the Clockwork, that's 2 cores that they've already shown off. Whatever FY and Fenrir pick up, it'll be synergistic for the team, but it's not all that threatening. So, like, for example, what I mean by that is that now LGD don't have to worry about like a Ice Broodmother or anything like that. They know what they're facing in the safe lane and in the off lane. That's going to be the damage threats coming in from the Clockwork and the Gyrocopter. And I may be as confident in almost any matchup here with this Shadow Fiend mid. I mean, obviously the Queen of Pain is still in the pool, and Vici Gaming may very well look for that for their 4th pick. But I still think maybe has practiced that matchup well enough, and with good enough support rotations, I think they're confident. So yeah, I think that they know what they're getting into in this second phase, and that's a really important thing as a drafter.
Yep, certainly the Witch Doctor, though. We'll see if it's as amazing as Xiao 8's the other day with the full duration death wards. I think just yesterday, the Witch Doctor that carried them to this grand final from Xiao 8. We'll see if Vici can reciprocate that. It's usually a Fenrir Witch Doctor. It's a mix, but
MMY Tusk?
Okay.
Yao Tusk? No matter who picks it up, I'm just happy to see this hero hit the field. He's gotten so many buffs over the patch. Like, this is the sniper or the juggernaut. Like, this is the guy that has been buffed insanely hard, and nobody still picks him. And especially because this hero has an insane skill cap, to be honest with you. The Snowball has so many uses. And this hero, honestly, could be one of the highest skill cap heroes in the game. I mean, obviously, you look at Meepo, you look at Chen for all those micro skills. When it comes down to timing, Tusk, and positioning as well with the ice shards, Tusk can do so much. And MMY has shown what he can do as a support Tusk. Yao has shown what he can do as an offlane Tusk. but they are going to be up against that Super Queen of Pain I was talking about.
Yeah, Tusker into Gyrocopter, Queen, and Witch Doctor might be borderline suicidal.
5 seconds
If
remaining.
if borderline even, it just sounds like downright suicide. But it could work. Well, now we're gonna roll some Nyx in to do damage
Radiant team
reflect.
ban.
It could work. It certainly could. But I have my misgivings, especially now with the Queen of Pain turning up the volume. It's gonna be pretty tricky to use the snowball right.
Yeah, it's difficult, but Yao's going to be going on the Nyx Assassin, it looks like, so this will be MMY's Tuscan. If you're looking for somebody to know the timings, know the positioning of this hero, it's MMY. This guy, I mean, there are some SKS players that play him quite frequently, but in the Eastern scene, MMY is pretty much, he's writing the book on Tusk in the newest iteration, with the snowball and everything being the way it is. So, yeah, I'm actually really excited to see what MMY can pull out on this hero. I think we're going to be seeing some surprising plays from him, and it might be enough to catch Vici Gaming off guard, but that Nyx Assassin in the offlane, it does seem like it's going to be pretty powerful here. I mean, the Spike Carapace is really good against all this AoE, and the Sonic Wave, of course, is a big ability to reflect back at the Queen of Pain. Mana Burn's going to be good against the Intelligence heroes. I think the biggest combo that you can get, though, is if the Nyx Assassin is inside the Snowball. Because generally the response to a Snowball is wait until the Snowball breaks out, and all those heroes are ready to be AoE'd down, and then you just knock them out. But with the Spike Carapace, once it gets maxed out, you actually just hit that as soon as you come out of the Snowball, and everybody gets exactly one spell or one instance of damage against you. And then you might be able to turn it against them with all that stun and with all that damage. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what they can do with this combo.
You know, the
5 seconds remaining.
Nyx Assassin might be a counter stun once, but
Reserve time.
ultimately I think you shouldn't be looking to use the snowball to roll in the middle to late game. Early game it's fine because everyone's in their lanes, they're alone, it's okay. But later on I think the snowball should be used defensively or as a initiative, just one or two instead of the entire team. He could go in alone, I think, because bringing in his entire team apart from Nyx would be a danger.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to positioning how they want to take the fights. Interesting Naga Siren Band coming out here, and Kid Siler was going for a late game build up. They have the hookshot to cancel out the song BOT, but it's still something that they don't want to have to be frustrated by. The Radiance Burn obviously decent in this game, but I don't think that was a particularly destructive pick. I mean, Requiem on top of Song does sound pretty scary, but that's about it. And we're actually going to see them let it go with Crystal Maiden as their other support. So between the Witch Doctor and Crystal Maiden, they both have very powerful ultimates that are really strong when you channel. The Witch Doctor does not get countered by Spike Carapace, the CM does. Without a Chen or Enchantress on the field, I'm actually really surprised to see the CM come out here.
Okay, well, there's your counter to magic, I guess. Juggernaut is gonna be picked up again, I guess.
And Jiaoweit's... No, I called it wrong, by the way. MMY's going to be picking up, unless they swap, MMY's picking up the Rubik, Jiaoweit's going to be running the support next, and Yao will take Tusk to the offlane, as he has done a handful of times.
Yeah, Tuska does seem like the optimal offlane hero. You want to get more levels on him, I think. Although Nyx Assassin arguably could be level hungry as well. Do they go dual lanes here, do you think? 2-1-2. I think Juggernaut can hold his own against the Clockwork, especially Rubik. Rubik is excellent against Clockwork because of his ability to throw the Clockwork out of his own cogs, and as a result, Ice might end up trapping himself instead with his own power cogs here against the Juggernaut. So I think it's okay to have Jug and Rubik on one, and Tuska Nyx on a roaming kind of role.
Yeah, I could see that working. I mean, one big aspect of that is the Crystal Maiden wants to focus on the jungle early. She just wants to go ahead, frostbite down the harder creep camps and stuff like that. And if you put two people bottom, that means that she has to be a little bit more involved in the lane than just the AFK jungle, finding random items like Trinkle Boots and Midas early on. You actually keep her involved. You keep her forced and stuck to the bottom lane, and the 2v2 would just generally kind of go evenly. It wouldn't win LGD the lane, but it would make sure that the Tusk does get some experience, and it would keep the Crystal Maiden out of the jungle a little bit. So overall, I think I like that laning configuration, but it depends on where they can get the most value of the Nyx, honestly.
Yeah, alright, so we have a little bit of a pause, and LGD versus Vici, finally a Crystal Maiden with the Arcana. No stingy people here. Alright, Vici, FY, taking his Crystal Maiden seriously. Will be playing CM. Jal, also Ice, using another account. Will be on Clockwork Super, playing that Queen of Pain. Fenrir on the Witch Doctor. How, last but not least, the one and only Gyrocopter Plicker. LGD is all yours.
Yeah, looking over at LGD. For now, we're looking at Zhao 8 running on the Nyx Assassin, MMY on the Rubik, maybe on the Shadow Fiend, leaving Styler to play the Juggernaut and Yao to play the Tusk. There is potential for swap play between a couple of these heroes here, but I'm not so sure. Like, Zhao 8 and Yao would be the swap, and because of the Mango Nyx Assassin is really good, but it looks like it's probably just going to be Mango Tusk, and I don't know. We'll see. But
Mango Nyx Assassin just feels so right with the base regen, of course.
Exactly. But it looks like it is going to stick to the player and hero that we referenced before, and yeah, we'll see how maybe decides to build himself. Right now he's got stats, just double branch, the circlet, probably getting a couple of pooled tangos, and then he'll either, if he can go rush straight for the bottle, that's great, and later on he'll look for maybe a magic wand, because he does have the perfect items to start and build into that. But first and foremost, it looks like they want to invade the jungle a little bit here. Do they have any sentries? No, just the split observers. They're going to try to make sure that the bottom lane is secure.
Yeah, they're going to group up. They have great level 1 fight, especially with the Tusker. Snowball will do a lot of damage if they get a 5-man roll in. So, Crystal Maiden, you see FY actually going to the top lane, immediately plant down this ward, make Ice's lane a little bit easier. And like you mentioned, no sentry ward, so there will be no de-warding action going on here. So we'll see if it's a 2-1-2 for LGD. But it does seem to be just Yao going to be soloing, I think. Securing the rune and then soloing with... No, it looks like Xiao 8 is here, so he might decide to join his friend on the bottom lane.
So I'm actually curious how Yao's going to build this Tusk. Obviously, they wanted it to get more experience, or they wouldn't have put it in the offlane role. They would have put it in support. My preference is actually for Tusk offlane and getting like something like an earlier Blink Dagger or something like that. But we have seen plenty of phase booth drums of endurance builds. So the way that I look at it is a quick jump in, a quick response. If you get caught out inside the cogs, for example, you can blink into the cogs and snowball that clockwork and buy yourself time where that person that's in jeopardy is suddenly perfectly safe. So I like the blink play, but honestly, whatever allows you to move about the battlefield. And yeah, we'll see how he skills, because it could be like a 1-1-3, taking advantage of the frozen sigil, or if he feels that that's going to be killed off too easily, then he'll go for something more like a maxed snowball to get that extra stun duration.
Certainly. We have maybe going level 1 raise to get that early lead over Super, just punishing him with nuking early on and forcing him back before securing that very early bottle. He needs 2 more last hits and he should have more than enough mana to secure that. And winning the block was a big deal for him as well. He does get the advantage of getting last hits, and as I say that, he missed 2 in a row.
So, I mean, we're going to see the Shadow Fiend go off to an early start here. Maybe gets just the early raise stacks, and now he's going to get the Necromastery stacks. So, still going to be edging out Super a little bit here, and I think this is going to be, I mean, this is a very fast bottle, for example, so this is going to be a pretty good lane, I think.
Yep, it is a 2-1-2 lane, so LGD, they don't want to leave this Tusker in the lurch, and Xiao 8, he loves to play this Nyx Assassin. There are very few pros in the scene that actually love to play Nyx, or you know them for their Nyx play. One of them is Mushy, and the other one is Xiao 8, I think. Oh, good trap here on How from the eye shots.
I actually think this is going to be a pretty passive lane. I don't expect kills to come out until like level 4 at least from in the bottom lane. This is mostly going to be defensive, poking and prodding, but not really finding an opening unless Vici makes a huge mistake. But mid lane's actually really interesting for me, because maybe he's actually gotten off to a decent start here. Got the bottle out, is up to 6 Necromastery charges. I feel like Super has to be very aggressive now. I think he has to be Shadow Striking whenever he gets the chance and playing this matchup extremely aggressively, or he's actually going to lose just a little bit by the damage that's being built up by maybe with this Necromastery continuing to accumulate.
Well, the Queen of Pain, all he needs is 1 rotation from the Crystal Maiden, who has a Smoker Deceit ready. She's just gonna grab 1 or 2 more big creeps. She has already stacked it up, so just frostbiting another Centaur should bring her over to level 3, and with the 1-on-1 she can gank maybe very successfully, especially since he just got his bottle. He doesn't have boots yet, he hasn't built into the magic wand. I think it's a key timing attack that he can get here. Well, he's a little bit short, so well, he's forced to pull 1 more wave, I think, or maybe just edge close to the mid lane and get that level 3 in time for smoke.
One thing I want to note real quick is that Sylar's actually going for a different skill build on his Juggernaut than we saw last game. Still same hero, still same player, but he's going for already 2 points in Blade Fury. So he is not going to be going for a stats-oriented build. Maybe he regrets the lack of skill points in that earlier, or just feels it's a little bit better in this situation for getting that early kill on the Clockwork. So we'll see how that progresses.
And lower cooldown.
But, yeah, there's a lot of great ways that that skill scales up. It's just essentially the lack of agility. But do you think it's maybe just the fact that he doesn't have Empower? Empower makes the agility 50% better in terms of damage output, so that would make sense to me, that you can kind of just say, okay, well, you're not getting the Empower, you want to prioritize skills over stats.
Right, we might see a potential first blood here if it isn't for Yao actually already positioned, poised up top, waiting for that Crystal Maiden to show her face. And FY, maybe he senses this. He doesn't go by that side. He's trying to go from the middle because the SF has actually conceded a little bit of space. Now he's going to run to the top. Yao has abandoned his post, so it could be a great opportunity for this Crystal Maiden to get a gank here. He sees Yao there on that Tusker. They will scout him out now. Crystal Nova, is that going to be it? Nope, they're going to just ruin the gank here. And now SF a little bit too far out. The Crystal Nova could land. It's going to slow him in time. It could be first blood if it's not careful. Nyx Assassin throws out the stun. Crystal Maiden in trouble. The lift up. There's 4 heroes now on the CMS. First blood going the way of Yao there. He punches it and the snowball to follow. Wow. The blink away. It will award him with an invisibility rune, but a great TP reaction coming out from LGD. They will score the first kill of the game here, and that will be going to Yao, the quote-quote off-lane Tusker, and he's now gonna sit mid and get some EXP while SF returns to base.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of showing a little bit of flexibility and mobility on the map here. Zhao 8 can easily offlane in this position as the Nyx Assassin, and obviously that used to be his primary role. So, not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's a role swap, more so it's dynamic and reactive lanes. Yao knows that he can make more of a difference here defending the Shadow Fiend than the Nyx can, and so him being in the mid lane while Zhao 8's bottom makes a lot of sense. And I think that's going to be really strong now that the Nyx can scale up his by Carapace and feel much more safe in this off-lane position. But yeah, we'll see what else Yao can accomplish. Right now he's about to hit level 3, and he's already kind of made his contribution with that bait from Maybe. I don't know if it was intentional, maybe he was just going in to help out Tusk, but getting out of position like that ended up getting them the first blood, so very profitable for them.
Crystal Feeden, man. What a hero. I'm still convinced that the Maiden is not good enough to be picked yet. She just needs too many skill points, but now maybe might have gone out of his league here. He gets Sonic Wave down, the snowball will land, it will be onto the Crystal Maiden. Yao now gonna be backing off, and well, Crystal Maiden comes in at the right point, right as I flame her. And
now this here's, I mean, just any kind of support gank that also is able to build herself up in the jungle. I mean, it's not as efficient as AoE junglers like the Sand King, but it's also not as countered when you block off her camp. She just casually picks up a creep every once in a while, builds herself up continuously. Her ultimate's insane if you don't cancel it, and the lane advantage you get from Arcane Aura is not to be understated. I mean, Rocket Flare spam, Shadow Strike spam. I really feel like she helps in very what's the word? Subtle ways. She's not the most obvious hero
she
to
takes great skill to play.
Phase, but she can do a lot of things in a very sneaky way.
Yeah, I like the Nova build coming up from FY. I think that skill has been buffed up really heavily, so really does warrant a early level 4 instead of going it over the Arcane Aura. But then again, it's a trade-off.
So we're going to be seeing a nice little smoke rotation here. MMY and Yao trying to make their move here. Phase boost for the Tusk is going to be, but for now, just the brown booty is going to bring them to the action, and they've got 2 points in Ice Shard, so they really want to get the most burst damage they can. A really good value point is the second skill point for damage. They're just going to snowball out of smoke. Yao in a bad spot here. We'll see if the cast can do enough.
Not enough damage so far. The stick charge is going to be more than enough. The cost ruining the day, and now hit Scream coming in from Super. He will take down 2. There's going to be a call down to follow as well. Xiao Wei explodes into fire. Double damage for a double kill here for Hao, and that's going to be a lot more gold going into his pockets there.
Spinning onto Ice. One more right click will bring him down under the tower, and that is just a huge swing for Sylar, but a heavy loss for their team as a whole. I mean, Vici Gaming making the perfect response. Out of that snowball is that Mask, Paralyzing Cask, and a double Maledict, and the Queen of Pain rotation was just perfect. That's one problem with the Tusk is snowball
groups you up.
Vici have a few extra seconds to know what's going to happen, and that's the TP time for the Queen of Pain. So it's like she was there exactly when she needed to be, because she knew exactly what was going to happen. But now we see another cast coming through. Spike Carapace should make that just a harassing cast, but all the same, Fenrir's shown what he can do to respond to tough situations, and not only does Hal live, but he gets a double out of that. Suddenly, Bracer, Wraithband, he's going to Ring of Akala, could go Drums of Endurance, plenty of stats to play around with.
Yeah, it's well, it was a sad death for Ice there, not respecting the Juggernaut's mobility. It's still a small kill here in the grand scheme of things. He's been getting a lot of farm on that Clockwork, now level 6. He can look for some rotations if he wants to. And yeah, I just, yeah, the Tusker, you mentioned a lot of his problems. It's like the old Spirit Breaker that warned you when he was charging you. Yeah, it's that same problem. It was a great spell. Charge of Darkness is amazing. But if you tell someone that you're coming, it's just trashed here. Harsh words aside, but yeah, it's not really good. And well, we'll see if they can make something happen out of this. The punch is good for BKB targets as well because it does lock you down and slow you for a bit through BKB.
It's actually been really interesting to watch MMY and Ice here with this Western Dire camp. This hard camp has been pulled to the lane so many times. Both are trying to stack it, both are trying to kind of double up on chain pulls here or pull it off to the lane here. I've seen MMY try to pull it northwest to get both the Radiant and the Dire creeps fighting the same camp. Like, I've just been kind of casually watching it, but Ice and MMY manipulating the jungle in a very interesting way here on the Dire side that's kind of shifting the equilibrium a lot, but overall it's been favoring Ice. He gets the levels that he needs, where the Tusk is 4 and the Nyx is 5. Ice is nearly level 7 here, and that's going to be prime ganking time for him in just a short while.
Yeah, they were thinking about going top, I think, with Hao and FY, but now they're looking for a jungler here. Start stepping to ensure they don't break the smoke as quickly, and now plopping Observer was round the corner, trying to look for targets. I think they want to get Hao. Is there any TP support ready? There is Rubik with a TP. There is Syla with the TP as well. So it might be a very ill thought out gank if they're not careful.
MMY's just going to TP out of here to the bottom lane. There's not going to be anything to interrupt it, so Sylar is left all by himself with the Blade Fury phase boots. They're going to be Frostbite to actually set it up, but no, he's caught. If the cogs had connected, that would have been huge, but instead, it's just a spin TP for him.
And Dire's Courier dying there. I don't know where it was from. Did the Gyro pick it off?
It looks like the neutrals might have been involved. I mean, maybe a hero does it, but...
I think Gyro was there. He was just staying back to shoot it. But yeah, they lose the Courier. It's a Clarity Potion and a Drum recipe. So it's a small loss here for the Juggernaut, as he won't be able to exploit their aura. But it's not the biggest loss. Vici are ahead in this game after that Gyrocopter turnaround.
And looking at it, I looked at the combat log, none of the heroes hit that Courier. It was just the creeps were aggroed at the right time, and that ends up being the neutrals actually sacking the Courier there.
Alright, so the neutrals taking Vici's side. They want it as balanced as possible. They want it to be a 1-1. And
that's the new 6.3 mechanic, is just the game starts fighting for you.
Yeah,
the jungle
it's Skynet! Oh no! But yeah, the super invisibility rune could make some big plays if they didn't see this coming. Oh, Tusker? No, level 4 and then some. Not level 6 just yet. Doesn't have the Walrus Punch. It's a real concern here. It's lacking the levels. Needs the Sigil as well. I've been told it's the best skill on him.
Yeah. It definitely has potential to be the best skill. There's some games where it's pretty weak. Here, the attack range of all of Vici make it so that they could probably just focus the Sigil down pretty quickly. But there are some games where it's absolutely insane, and it just is one of those things that can really disrupt the attacks of Vici and really mess with their overall potential to engage in fights. In this case, Sigil seems to be a lesser valued pickup, but he's still going to be able to skill it up here at level 5, and even with 1 point, it'll be an asset in the fights. But that fight's going to be coming all too soon with the smoke rotation here, flanking onto Yao with the hook shot. And we have people waiting in the wings. Could be a 3v5.
There we go. Catches him out. Super. Oh, there's your snowball. It buys 4 seconds of time. This is it. The defensive snowball. It will not buy him enough time, though. He will die, but Juggernaut gets time to move into position. The spins all around it. Witch Doctor from the low ground. Oh, boy. Juggernaut comes in. He does use his Omni Slash already. The Crystal Nova's going to swap in time in a full duration Death Ward. Fenrir with the machine gun deploys it all. The Requiem of Souls going to be charged up. Ooh, does a lot of damage there. Shell 8 with the Spike Carapace in time will deflect some of that damage, but that will be it. They will lose 3 heroes for the 2 support Clockwork as well as the Crystal Maiden. Clockwork more of an off lane, quite a bit of EXP going their way, but still a lost fight nonetheless for LGD. Actually, no. You look at it, XP and gold, it's pretty even.
Yeah, in this position, obviously the fact that Nyx Assassin survived through all of it, he gets a huge burst of golden experience where Vici have it a little bit more spread out. But I still gotta say, like, that fight could have been turned much harder against Vici Gaming if not for Fenrir's Death Ward.
Yeah.
That was just absolutely insane how much damage he was able to get out of it. In fact, maybe went up over to the cliff and tried to just start raising down the stationary Witch Doctor, and he's like, wait, I can't actually kill this guy, and he's just taken out almost 2/3 of my health with this single ultimate. It did so much work in that fight. They're able to chase down, they're able to connect with a lot of kills there. Nice Requiem turns it around, but if not for maybe his Requiem, that would have been just exclusively a win for Vici Gaming. Instead, it's a bit of a trade-off both ways, with Xiao 8 profiting the most on the Nyx Assassin.
Well, we all know that Vici are scary for their supports and their offlane players, so maybe that's where LGD needs to focus their attention on, you know. Look for the supports and try and pick them off or isolate them, cause them to run around the map constantly and separate them up. But this Tusker is still not level 6. It's 40 minutes into the game. He's really lacking MMY as well. The hero levels have been abysmal on LGD.
2 level 5s
Yeah.
on LGD and not even a level 6 on Vici. They're all 7 and above, and that's just a sad state of affairs. They need to take a fight, they need to get a kill momentum, and Xiao 8's the one to do it, but not under the Sentry Ward. Just a really great time to put down that Sentry, and suddenly Xiao 8 can't do anything to engage.
Yeah, alright, Yao. He has face boots, so he will have some of that damage boost if he does ever get his ultimate. But for now, the snowball, like I said, should be used defensively instead of offensively, I think. Offensive usage has led to a lot of dying.
This is an interesting smoke. I'm not sure what they can actually get out of it. In fact, with the Radiant Observer Ward, they probably spotted it in the mid lane here. So Vici Gaming, they're kind of playing it safe, and honestly, LGD, they don't even seem to know which direction they wanted to go with this. Like, they seem a little bit scattered. They place an Observer Ward under an active Sentry Ward.
I heard
Vici Gaming are just winning this on wards alone this past couple minutes.
Alright, looks like iLeague will take the emergency exit and just peace out of the bottom lane. He fears there's smoke gang coming his way, and LGD blow a smoke for nothing.
Yeah, and that's the extra farm you get from jungling Crystal Maiden. Is like, okay, well, I've just gotten 20 hard creeps that give a huge sum of gold. Suddenly, you drop out on these Sentry Wards. So where Nyx Assassin usually taxes the enemy supports and preys upon them with the fact that he is able to focus down low armor heroes, they just keep on massing sentries, and soon enough he'll walk into his own death. They get a free observer here down the bottom rune. Ice cleans that up, and this is just sentries spreading all over the map thanks to Crystal Maiden's income.
Yeah, and you make a good point. And meanwhile, FY, with all that extra pocket change, he is affording up that Glimmer Cape. And getting it will be huge because LGD only have one non-target stun. So if they do not have any sentries when it happens, it's gonna be, let it go, like you said.
Yeah, I think it's important for MMY to pick up Dust, because he can spell steal that freezing field if he can ever see the Crystal Maiden, but obviously, like you said, that Glimmer Cape negates that fact. So the ideal thing is Spike Carapace countering it, but if you can spell steal it and Spike Carapace it, that's the dream right there. But they smoke again under this Observer Ward in mid. They must not have seen this placed out, because this ward is giving so much intel. Vici Gaming are absolutely winning this game on wards alone. These past 5 minutes have been just wards from FY, and they have set up so many opportunities as well as diffuse situations that would have been critical for Vici Gaming. And how many smokes are left for LGD? They have one smoke left after all that. It's coming up in the shop now, but like, this is just Vici Gaming who are now going to have complete map dominance because they're the ones that can move. At least they get a nice observer on the top lane. They get the Sentry Ward to block off Ancient stacks and Ancient respawns, and they will maybe get that tier 1 trade, but I mean, it's still not what they intended to do with this smoke.
Yeah, but they're gonna be trading a tier 2 if they're not careful. The Queen has actually gone for book. I'm not sure if you've seen that.
Oh, whoa, yeah, actually did not catch that, but Super getting some good farm.
Okay, never mind. Ice, about to get himself killed, but he will survive.
He's got 4 staff, so he can play around a little bit, and
he's got hook as well. He wants to go in. Oh,
he just wants to keep them there so they can keep pushing.
Alright. Yeah, he tried for the hook, so the hook's on cooldown for about a minute. And the Crystal Maiden has her ultimate. It's a 700 gold. He needs another 900 to get that Glimmer Cape. 700 to get that Glimmer Cape.
The ideal scenario is you get like 2 people TPing to the mid lane to defend, and then the hookshot interrupts one, and the other person just chooses to stop their TP to help out that person. So the Ice commits himself to a 1v2, where he's definitely going to die, but it's a tactical feed where they get a tier 2 tower out of it. But in the end, the hookshot misses. They don't get any of that shenanigans going on, but they do get the smoke play that should lead to a great initiation. They've got the drums of endurance, they've got the vision, they've got the intel, and this should be a really good opportunity for Vici Gaming.
No hook though. Oh, here comes Ice. He says, "I'm here alone. Gank me!" And okay, they force staff away. Shout 8, looking for that stun. Does he find it? He really wants Witch Doctor. You really need Witch Doctor. All right, no fights. So gank over. 7 and 4 is the kill score. LGD trail 3 kills as well as 2,000 gold in that net worth. FY though, feeling really brave and charging forward.
Yeah, they didn't have Sentry Wards there. I think they would have probably had a better opportunity to get involved in that situation, but as it is, they just lose the tower. They rotate and waste the smoke and the TP scroll, and now they get dust on Ice. So now at least if he sees that the Nyx is supposed to be somewhere, then he can kind of predict that a little bit, and not only dust, but then follow that up with the hook shot. So a pretty good opportunity, but all the same, it looks like they've been happy to passively farm until How finishes the BKB in about 1,300 gold.
Alright, How still doesn't have a lot of damage. He has to rely a lot on magical damage, so the Juggernaut will be able to spin through a lot of that, and Syla going Shadow Blade will actually be able to get the jump on a lot of them, forcing them to buy sentries on top of the Nyx. So
yeah. Didn't talk much about this Necro 3, but I'll go into it now that it's actually fully upgraded. Obviously, detection is huge against the wards and against the Vendetta. Now up against the Shadow Blade that was picked up by the Juggernaut, so Super already countering 3 aspects of LGD's game plan with the detection aspect. But then you also get a couple of extra things. You get a nice aura that accompanies the drum really well in terms of attack speed, movement speed. And then you also get an extra things for the Omni Slash to bounce to. 2 extra creeps in the mix of things. Omni Slash is going to be dissipated that much more, and that means that you're going to be able to fight, because essentially those Necronomicons are going to soak up that damage and become an extra boost of HP for your team.
yeah, and we'll see if the Necro units are deployed in time. This time they are. They will see the Nyx Assassin. They know he's there. And yeah, the Necro unit smells blood. It says, "I smell a bug." And a hook shot here from Ice. We'll find the Nyx Assassin, and that's it. Xiao Wei is down and out for the counter. Or is he? Oh, running away. Nope, not gonna run. Ice claims his life, and Syla says, "Okay, back to split pushing."
Yeah, with the hookshot on cooldown, Spin TP is still a get out of jail free card. Queen of Pain didn't go Orchid, so yeah, there's no threat for him.
Yeah, Juggernaut does have Shadow Blade anyway, so only Ice has the dust, and now they're gonna fight without the Queen of Pain. It could be bad for them. There comes the TP from the Juggernaut, and just get free damage onto the tower, and they will back off. So Syla TP's in, pretty much for nothing, but he needed to get out of that lane anyway. And actually the creep equilibrium is amazing for the Dire right now. The lanes are auto pushing into the enemy territory, so even if they lose this fight, Vici will not be able to capitalize as much off the win.
Normally, generally speaking, that's not the case with a Clockwork on your team, but you actually look at MMY's spell steal, and he has been using this Rocket Flare pretty much back to back, continuing to scout things out, push out lanes, and that's actually favored them a ton as far as these side lanes go. So really good usage of the Rocket Flare. Yeah. It's a tiny thing, but it really puts Vici Gaming on the defensive for this stage when LGD are looking for the smoke.
Looks like it will be selling.
Oh, they're on Roche. They're just going to go right in, snowball across, but Rocket Flare scouts it out from Ice, so they can't follow through.
Ice is a Jedi.
Play, yeah. But, yeah, just too many rockets flying about, and unfortunately, Bash.
Yeah, but Ice is a Jedi. Yeah, there's no getting anything past him. 4 staff is up for the Clockwork, so like you said, able to juggle in and out of the fights. He will be going for Axe now, or Blade Mill, do you think?
I don't think Blade Mill. I definitely don't think that. Maybe he could go for a Ghost Scepter. Obviously, he could go for the mech build still. I mean, he's got enough intelligence that it would be worthwhile, and I think mech is a pretty important thing to have against heroes like Shadow Fiend and Juggernaut. So I think Mechanism, but I mean, Axe is definitely an option if he feels he could really do work with the shorter cooldown.
Yeah, well, he's still feeling it, but LGD, are they going to use their smoke, or are they out of it? No, they have one on MMY. Are they going to go for it again? Their smoke ganks have been absolute failures this game. And a lot of them were just really sad. Oh, sad coincidences. There's your snowball. It's gonna roll in onto Ice Ice Ice. This is bad. They roll right onto Ice 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 and they get trapped in there. The Witch Doctor ultimate punishes them with their misplay. Maybe pops their BKB. Tries to man fight this Gyrocopter. He will be punished by this Necro unit who now does magical damage. So he'll be safe from that with his BKB on. But Xiao 8, he is very unfortunately regretting that Tusker pick right now. There's too much AoE for this to work out, I think. There's just too much.
Man, that hook was absolutely insane.
Hooked into the snowball, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they snowballed in. They went
Crystal
for the
Maiden,
illusion
is that ulti?
and-
Ulti?
Oh, I don't know about
Liver.
this. Magic wand!
Liver. Balance item! Oh,
Just leave it there, dude. Magic wand's the fucking imba item. That's just that's
Glimmer
it.
Cape,
Get the
dude.
Glimmer cape away, and
Yeah.
I mean, Juggernaut couldn't have pursued that. He would have actually suicided if he had, even if he could see the Crystal Maiden. If he had pursued with the spin, that the Voodoo Restoration Magic Wand would have made it so that Juggernaut had to actually go in full YOLO with Omni Slash and right clicks to go for the CM, and that would not have boded well. So, Glimmer Cape's great, but Magic Wand was the savior there.
both of them combined together to
Yeah, exactly.
create the ultimate Crystal Maiden. 1v4 easy. Runs in 1v4, gets double stunned and lives. Oh man, this item is game breaking. It's nearly along the levels of Smoke and Soul Ring. I mean, these items are crazy. And
I was just like a 4-staff. It's just parallels pretty well as far as defensive
true.
utility support items, but I mean it's just a new 4-staff really. It's like there were patches where you used to see everybody go 4-staff. Now you see
that 4-staff got nerfed.
going
Oh, hook shot!
Jeez, great cogs.
Xiao 8, bye bye.
He didn't Carapace. He had the spike Carapace, but didn't see the scream coming, and he actually just straight up dies.
Yeah,
Instead of-
sometimes you're like, I'm dead. Hands off the
It's-
keyboard, and he would have
Oh.
died regardless. Do you think?
Yeah, it would have been like Queen of Pain having to jump another
Okay.
time. He would have had to blink a second time in order to chase him. He would have died, but they could have at least gone to
Oh,
chase him. And now-
snowball.
It's a BKB, pops it on a high ground, 4-step glimmered, and all the way up here, he can just dish out the damage
Right
with
clicks
flash
though
to
from
hold
the
that-
Shadow Fiend. It's gonna do a lot of damage, but the Crystal Maiden full duration ultimate. No stuns from Juggernaut anymore. But FY might go down this time. Will he go down? Yes, he will. Crystal Maiden not so OP anymore. Shadow Plates away will be the Juggernaut. He's coming back in for round 2. He's going in for seconds, but Fenrir, he's deploying. The Doctor is in, and look at it go. Not enough damage. Maybe we'll actually right-click it through because Healing Ward is too good. And now they're gonna run in looking for Roshan. Are they gonna go for Roshan? Yes, they are. There is no Healing Ward for this anymore. It's gonna be timeout soon.
For another 10 seconds. I mean,
Alright.
that's plenty of time to get at least a half of Roshan's HP down. But yeah, I really thought the Death Ward would do more, but because you can't obviously attack the Healing Ward while you're channeling, Sylar just keeps him up, and that was actually huge for LGD. A huge swing back the other way. Now the Aegis, gonna be picked up by Maybe. I mean, I gotta say, LGD just played that fight really smooth, and were able to make the most of their position there. Isolating the Gyrocopter, Maybe stayed on target against him, and I think they're still lacking the mechanism, which I think is really unfortunate for Vici Gaming. The Ghost,
buys it,
Isis
though?
go for the Ghost Scepter, which is great against the Juggernaut, often good against the Shadow Fiend, but they don't have a mech, and that is very painful.
Who's gonna hold it though? The Doctor.
It would be Clockwork. The
Yeah,
Isis Ice
Clockwork,
would pick it up
yeah.
instead of the Ghost Scepter.
He
but
doesn't have arcanes. So
yeah,
it's
he
mana
has to rely on
taxing.
the intelligence from the 4-staff, and that's not always the most reliable thing.
Yeah, well, I think that was just a bad fight for them in general. The Gyrocopter, they attempted to save him with the 4-staff, but forced him onto the cliff instead. So the SF just, well, hammed on him. And Gyrocopter, he went for a more mobility defensive build. You know, the BKB first is always gonna affect your damage output. And SF, he can't go for it because he has that 72 from Necromastery. But How can't afford that same luxury, especially with Rocket Barrage and Call Down being nullified by BKB. He doesn't have a lot of damage to man fight DSF. And now Sanjin Yasha, okay.
Yeah. They've been very reliant on the Queen of Pain's damage, honestly, and we're going to see a little bit of that down bottom. Sylar just goes, it's okay, screw you, Necronomicon, and takes that down, defending the bottom lane with Stride. We're also going to see another stack, or Sentry Ward, preventing the Ancient stacks from How. So Xiao Wei kind of lurking in the shadows there. Out of Vendetta, drops the Sentry, and that means that How will be claiming these Ancients, but not many more after that.
Huh? Is Juggernaut back? Or is it just Sylar?
So, I mean, it works with the tempo LGD are looking for. It works great with Presence of the Dark Lord. They're looking to fight like this in these kind of small skirmishes, jumping in with the snowball. And I think Omni Slash is just a great skill for that in general. I think Silas played the Juggernaut really well. And although he's not like flavor of the month anymore, he's still very viable this patch.
And I think he's excellent against the Gyrocopter because of his magic immunity.
Sure, definitely. It definitely comes into play. I mean, with the Max Blade Fury, you could probably get 2 spins off in the fight. And yeah, he's able to deal with House damage output quite well. And
okay. Alright, there's your call down. It's going to do a little bit of damage. They frostbite him up. Instant Manta out. Yeah, one of the downsides, or the many downsides of that frostbite, despite its long duration. And 12 and 8 now. LGD, they want to reset, come back in, or maybe retreat to farm some stacks. Shall see.
They still have the Aegis, they still have BKBs. It looks like they'll clean up the Ancients here, but if they find an opportunity, I think they can go back in. They're not going to force the issue on the tier 2, it looks like, though. Then the Vici are already too ready to defend, and they're starting to get their levels that they need. Like level 11 up on the Witch Doctor, obviously up on everybody but the
super. Super. This time he pops that BKB. Nyx Assassin. He will actually get hit by that pure damage. Be more than enough. That super just BKB and man modes it up. And now Fenrir got to deploy a full length Witch Doctor out, but this time denied by the Rubik. He'll get caught down. The Omni Slash gets run all around the place. And Gyrocopter goes down. The Queen of Pain catching the tail end of that level 3 Omni Slash as well. 9 slashes, too much, and nice slice. He traps them all in. It's big. The call down buyback. Triple kill from SF. It's going to be stopped now. The Aegis is going to respawn him in a bit. 10-second channeling. FY will get the tail end of this. Maybe going to get frostbitten up. There's the raise, and there's a Juggernaut running right in. But there's a Frozen Sigil slowing things down. FY, you might not want to fight this SF 101. And the homing missile will come. Ultra, do we hear Rampage? Do you spell 5? No, it will not. It will only be 4 for maybe. This guy, you put him on any hero. Magnus, Shadow Fiend, this guy delivers, man.
I can't believe they tried to fight maybe there. After he was respawned with full HP and mana, a Sigil was still in play, and Siler wasn't completely out of it. They felt like they had an upper hand with like their disables, a homing missile, frostbite, whatever, but this is still a hero with like 1800 HP, almost 2000 with strength treads. And he had the mech off cooldown, so
and
man, that was
Sigil.
not a fight they could take, and it's a little bit of a feed from FY, but overall, I mean, they held their ground. They hold the tier 2 tower. They go for a fight. It wasn't perfect. So the buyback from the Gyrocopter means that even though he got a kill and an Aegis pickup at the tail end of it, he didn't really profit from that exchange. The 60% reduction in reliable received makes it so that he doesn't even break even, I don't think. I think he still loses out in that in general. And of course, he's exhausting more BKB charges as time goes by.
So what's happening, Blaze, is, I mean, Vici, before this, they were considered one of the top teams, you know, one of the contenders, you know, for top 4 TI, top 3 TI, and then now, hook shot in, so look for Juggernaut first, yeah, he'll be fine. But yeah, they were one of the contenders, you know, top in the world and everything, and now, are they slipping, or is it LGD? Is it Director 8 showing his, rearing his head now that TI is near?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, actually picking up the Crystal Maiden, yeah, and that's very unfortunate. But yeah, I feel like it's a little bit of LGD really stepping up, and it's Vici Gaming losing their grasp on this patch. The fact is, all of their high tempo strats, everything that favored Vici Gaming going into 6.84 has been nerfed to a small extent, like the Undying and the Visage and all these things that just don't work as they did at the beginning of the patch. It shows that Vici Gaming. Not Fenrir. Oh, the telekinesis.
They need him. They really need him. Stun spikes him up, and there he goes. A new Pearson for him as Yao punches him into the sky, and that is 2 of your supports down. Crystal Maiden will be up in 5 seconds, but I'm not sure they can hold his base push. It's an Eagle Song on his SF. He is stacked as hell, and he's got 2,000 bucks in the bank. It might be GG game 2 for Vici if they're not careful.
Yeah, comes down to how they use their ultimates in this next fight. Right now, though, they're very confident moving in. Juggernaut just spins right out of that frostbite, and they can still hold position together. MMY is pretty low on mana, though, just probably throwing out a paralyzing cask and magic sticking out of telekinesis.
Yeah, I'm really convinced now that teams should stop picking Crystal Maiden. She's 0-3 just today.
I think she's better as a Chen or Enchantress counter. I will say that. I think the value they got out of her was okay this game with the Arcanora and the Sentries, but oh how cannot afford to get picked off there. If they opened with that stun, he probably would die before he got his BKB off. It's very critical that
there's a stun on MMY as well, double stun, cask as well as lift. Yeah, so
exactly.
It's pretty absurd here.
But yeah, real quick before we see another fight break out, to finish off that thought from earlier, I just feel like the B and C patch for 6.84 did really hurt Vici's style. It definitely didn't help. The Gyrocopter isn't as strong. The Undying's kind of, I wouldn't say off the map entirely, but definitely a more situational pick. And the Vici that we've seen play so well.
They might get figured. They might have just been figured out because Gyrocopter. I mean, you pick him every single game. I made a joke about how just liking to become a Gyrocopter, but it's really become his thing. I mean, there's a thought process like, oh yeah, we should always ban house Gyrocopter, but still, it's if you pick Gyrocopter every game, eventually someone is gonna figure out. And I think Juggernaut is one of those heroes that's really good against it. They frostbite the SF. Oh, the hook shot in, and there we go. Oh, instant lift here, no cogs! And now Ice caught out of position. The Glimmer Cape will spare his life for just a bit. The Omni Splash comes out. Syla is gonna run away now. His Omni Splash has been wasted. The cast will be disjointed by the spin. How going in, full deploying. But there's a Spike Carapace. It just stopping for a little bit, and there goes your Crystal Magician. One down already. Super coming in. Throws out the Scream. Fenrir with the Death Ward is going to do so much damage, but FY calls GG ahead of time, and Fenrir gets Fate bolted down. It's 2-0 LGD Grand Finals, man. Vici Gaming are really suffering 2-0. Direct at 8 after a really grueling series against Team Malaysia. They still have the vitality. They still have the perseverance to pull through a 2-0 right now against Vici. Match point.
I can't believe it, man. LGD on match point going into game 3, a 2-0 advantage. I mean, I know that Xiao 8 is good, but to figure it out this well, that they can get this kind of a draft advantage, bounce back from a kind of awkward laning phase for the Tusk and the Nyx Assassin. At the very least, they were under-leveled. And the mid-game, where all those wards came into play, all the Sentry wards from the Crystal Maiden, 2 smokes failing completely, and they still are able to push through with the Juggernaut just getting exactly the amount of farm that he needs. I gotta say, I'm really convinced that LGD have a good stake in this tournament and any subsequent ones on this patch, because they're just finding these timings where the Gyrocopter is not doing enough. He's doing good AoE spread damage, his damage numbers look good, but in terms of actually focusing a target and getting kills, he lacks that potential compared to the Juggernaut, and that is where LGD are just thriving. So they got so tanky at the end there, they just couldn't die under the mechanism and the healing ward and the snowball as well, and at that point it's just GG. LGD looking really good here, taking it 2-0, and I can't wait to see what they bring to game 3.
Yeah, oh man, I said 3-0 and you said long stretch. Well, we'll see what happens next. Because Tusker, I mean, yes, you hyped a lot about the pick. I think he really didn't do much this fight at all. It was essentially Juggernaut, a mix of Juggernaut, SF, and Rubik muscling through everything. The Tusker was there for show.
I think the Tusk was more of a liability than actual like forward.
They still pulled
them,
through, and that's the amazing part about this game. And I think I figured out why they are losing. Vici Super selling out on Valve and not buying a compendium. I think that's the reason. They got cursed, and 6.84C. It's all his fault. We gotta blame him there, man. Look at everyone.
He bought the wrong book. He got the Necro 3 instead of the compendium. GPK.
Yeah. Alright, so using in-game money instead of real money to buy items does not approve. Ice Rock does not approve. And that's 2-0. LGD, will they take 3-0? Will they go the long stretch? Or will Vici Gaming give their fans something to cheer about? We'll be right back, guys. I'm Lysander, this is Blaze. Remember to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And we'll have names on the top right corner. And we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Much love and Kappa.